G'day and welcome to this episode of Ranger Touring. We're going to Fraser Island in a couple of days, so I thought I'd go through the process of all the gear that goes into the car for a trip away for about a week. We're taking the trailer this time, the car, and no cheddar. So there's a handful of stuff that goes in this green trunk, which normally stays in the car throughout the week. And I'll just go through what's in there now. Alright, so firstly starting with the toolkit. I normally pack for a trip away a whole bunch of tools, including your socket sets, some spanners, a hammer and a whole bunch of things like that. I'll chuck in big batteries for the drill, the impact wrench, and as well as that too, the angle grinder. That one's ready to go in. Moving on, I take 2 shovels, big one, small one, just in case they're nice little fold down ones. We've got a bottle jack. We've got the tyre removal kit that comes with the car, minus the jack. Got a pop out bucket for doing some washing up in or just getting some fresh water. Because we're going to Fraser Island, I packed sand pegs this time, so they go in this bag of random goodies. So that contains spare butane gas, Bushmans, some of the wires for the awning, and the guide ropes for that as well. A few garbage bags, aluminium foil, a few bits and bobs. Essentially this is just a spares bag of all the stuff you don't go to all the time. That goes in here, nice clear top bag. That one's done. Second one here, it's got a fuel doctor in it, a spare air filter, a few cans of liquid and grease, a spare battery charger, and then going down to the bottom there's just a whole bunch of nuts, bolts, brackets, all that sort of stuff that goes in case something breaks. So when this goes in, there's a hole on that side there, so a ratchet strap can go through to make sure it doesn't move. So when I pack it, I pack the things that I go to most up this end, and then the things that I touch the least down the far end. So start in butane cooker, that's normally used quite often. We then go the spares bag of random bits and bobs. We got the fuel doctor and all the bolts and nuts. And then finally, we chuck in the tool bag, which just squeezes in the back there. From there, grab these, chuck them down the side. Same with the jack. Shovels down the side as well. The jack, and then the bucket. Just sort of squeezes in between the two there, and that bad boy is done. So now that the tub's been loaded in, it's just next to a jerry which doesn't leave the car, which is just hooked up to a hose, so I can do the dishes and stuff with that, and that just tucks up in that corner there. So now I've got behind the jerry, so behind the crate, and we've also got all this space to the left. Moving on, we've got one extra jerry which has been welded up already. Chuck that in the back. Right up the back behind the trunk. Next part is the recovery kit. So in that I've got this one again just from 4Drive Supercenter, the tree trunk protector, the snatch block, a snatch strap, and the winch extension strap with 2 shackles packed in, and the dampener blanket. So that all gets chucked in. Fits in a nice gap there on the other side of the trunk. I'm going to chuck this table in. I don't like using the table, I prefer to cook off the tailgate, but if it's raining and you need to set your awning up, obviously mine doesn't wrap around, so I need to use this. Then chuck in our camp chairs. Now when we're touring, we normally don't use the full awning for the camper trailer, but in this case, because we're going to set up for a few days, we're going to take the big awning, which just fits easily in the back. And that's pretty much all I'm taking in the back of the car. For this trip again, Fraser Island, you need to carry all your own rubbish with you, so I want to leave the back as empty as possible, so that I've got enough room to carry some garbage bags. Alright, so for Fraser, we're taking a fair bit of water with us. We've got one jerry in the back. We've got this jerry here, which we still need to fill up, which is more for washing up. We've got the water tank on the car, which is 25 litres, and we've got an 80 litre water tank on the trailer. This there is just for our drinking water. I'm just going to tuck that on the front of the box there. Nice easy access to it. And then it's ready to go when we need it. Hold that up so the hose doesn't get caught, and that's ready to roll. So these are a recent development. I don't have drawers in the back of my car, so I wanted a bit more ability to sort of have some storage and compartmentalize it. In addition, after getting the dog, if I put him in the back seat, I couldn't stack anything on top. So I wanted a design so I could still store my stuff whilst also traveling with the dog. But it still works. If I don't have the dog with me, I can just chuck stuff on where he would normally sit. So I'll go through installing that. This is just a couple of $100 to put together, just with some marine wool, a piece of wood, and then some tight ends that we've just drilled in. This takes a few minutes to put in, and then also to pull out. And then this part here is optional, whether you want to strap that on top. I'll just go through installing that now. So I'm just going to put all the seats forward and then slowly jiggle it in until it fits. It's got some L-shaped brackets there, so it'll sit flat. So once you've got this laying flat, there's 2 bolts that just go through, which have been now bolted into the actual car itself. I'm just going to tighten those up. Before we put the box in, we're just going to chuck the fridge in and plug it into the socket that's on the other side, which is hooked up to my 12 volt setup. So I'll go through that now. So when I go through installing the box, so it just goes in on its side, turns over, and then from there, got 2 ratchets which have just been tied off to the correct length. Those hook up here. And then that's not going to move. So from here, I've still gained all the space underneath here, in the footwell, but I can also place stuff on top. So if I'm traveling with the dog, I just chuck that on there, hook up a strap to the tight end point so he's nice and secure, and then grab the pup, and then place him up in the bed there. So he's nice and secure, and he can also look out the window. Alright, so when we're parking up for a while, I've got a 200 watt King solar panel, which is the fold out blankets. So that just gets tucked in the front. So in the storage area, I put all my filming gear. So I've got my laptop tucked into the laptop bag there. Got the drone. Fits nicely in there. Tucks all the way back down there. We've got the charging bank for Milwaukee gear, which just fits in nicely there. And then we've got the travel bag, so when I'm walking with the drone, I'll take this one, which just fits in on the top. And we've still got some extra storage room for some additional gear. Alright, still on the driver's side, we've got my lights, and then we've also got the straps for the awning. They just tuck into the back of the driver's seat, because again, that's something you'll be going to nearly every day when you set up. So in this cooler bag, it's just all our snacks for day trips and lunches. So that just gets put up there, and that means the left-hand side is just completely for the fridge and the food. We've got the air hose, and then we've got the pressure gauge as well. So that just tucks under in the footwell, nice and out of the way. But again, easy to find and easy to access. So there's a handful of stuff that just sits in the cab where we want easy access to it. So firstly, tire deflators, then got the winch controller. We've got 2 handheld radios. We've got a dual charger port for at night. We've got a torch and some batteries. And then we have the winch cable for when the battery runs out and I can't use Bluetooth. Always carry a spare battery though anyway. So one of the last things to go in is the Humble Max Tracks. You wouldn't go anywhere, well I don't go anywhere for driving without them, but definitely not to the beach without a set of Max Tracks. I've got 4 of them. They've seen better days, but they're still really reliable. Those go up on the roof, just due to the clearance of the car and the garage. I can't put them on until the morning of, but we'll do that then. They're an essential bit of kit for going on the beach. Okay, so we're going to start by filling up the 2 jerrys. We've got a hose that's good to go for the use of potable water. I'll chuck that in there. and fill that one up. And then filling up the tank that's underneath the tub here. Pull the cap off, plug that on, let the water flow, and then turn the hose on. So now that we've loaded up the car, we'll now crack into loading the trailer up. So the trailer's got a fair bit of space underneath the bed, so you can store some large bulky objects under there. So what we're going to load up first is the table. This has got two benches that come off it, and that just goes straight in the back. Push down and shove it as far up as you can. Next thing we've got is a 160 watt solar panel, which is excellent for keeping your batteries healthy. Chuck that straight on top. Push that all the way up the back. We've then got assorted again box of gear. This one here has a few extra butane cookers. It's got the cord for the lights. It's got a solar shower and a few other little bits and bobs. So we're going to chuck that in, just up in the corner there of the trailer. Next, we've got all the food. All our food goes in the trailer, apart from the snacks. So this is all the dry food required for the week-long trip. Last two things, always take the vacuum with me, just running a 2 amp hour battery for that one, and that's just for a Milwaukee 12 volt vacuum. And then the second one, this is a fan, again another Milwaukee fan, which is excellent compared to some of the camping fans that you can get. So you can recharge the batteries on the way, but also yeah, obviously power for a hot trip like this. And that just plugs straight in. From there, that's all that's required to go in the back of the trailer, apart from our bags, which will be loaded up very shortly. So that just gets locked up like that, and that's all done. So now that the car and camper trailer are loaded up, we'll just go through the last couple of things. So water tank's already been filled on this one here, that's 80 litres. Go around, just topped up all the cutlery for the kitchen. So all the stuff's in there, ready to go. Just started pre-cooling down the fridge, down to freezer for this side, and then a fridge on the other side. So that'll take all the food, and then the other one will just be used for a beer fridge. Come around to the front. For this trip, just because fuel on Fraser Island is really expensive, we're going to just go with 2 fuel jerrys at the front, and we've got plenty of water already. Inside here, sorted out all the poles for the awning, being the horizontal, the vertical poles, and then all the ones for setting up the windows and such things like that. We've also got an off-road hitch ready to roll, so when we take the trailer off, I can then have that one on for recoveries. Got a gas bottle all hooked up and ready to roll. In this side here, we've got a bunch of stuff ready to roll, so all the kitchen gear is in this side here, 2 saucepans. We've also got a billy, some stubby coolers, all the washing up stuff, and a jet boiler. Coming down to the bottom drawer, we've got all the plates, some glad wrap and baking paper and stuff like that, and then the chocks for the trailer. Close that one up. Always do this before I go away, chuck the trailer on 240 power and just really recycles the batteries and make sure that they're in a really healthy state. And that's about it. Last thing to do will be to load up all the cold food, chuck the max trucks on the roof, hook up the trailer, and then we'll be out of here.